Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, American Comics. The Girl Next Door is Spider-Gwen. Chapter 41. Max is in a very irritable mood now. Since the last time he was rescued by Cindy, there is hope of living, and he has a crush on the girl. Max thought Cindy was a superhero like Ghost Spider. He became a fan of Cindy and began to frantically search for news of her on the internet. It was only after he searched on the internet that he found that there was no news about Cindy other than the time he saved him. Max is not reconciled. After thinking about it day and night, that girl became his only belief in living. The sick man started bragging on the internet that saving his own girl is the real superhero. The Ghost Spider is nothing compared to her. Naturally, this kind of remarks was besieged and abused by the majority of Ghost Spider fans. So Max's mood became more depressed. At work, he was like a walking dead, and his superiors and colleagues ridiculed him again. Finally, in a distraction, he stumbled and fell into a pool full of genetically modified electric eels, and there happened to be some chemical and biological agents next to him, and he was also brought down. Things mixed together, under various reactions, mutation occurred, and he became an electric man who could absorb and release electricity. The powerful power gave Max the means to vent his dissatisfaction at will, and he started a massacre. The boss who took credit for him. Kill. The colleague who made him dissatisfied in the past. Kill. Pedestrians passing by on the street. Kill. Rat crawling out of the sewer. Kill. Kill them all. Max's current state, to put it simply, is red-eyed. After the police bullet passed through the body without causing any damage, he realized that he seemed to be invincible. Then what is there to be afraid of? Kill whoever you want. Go to hell with me. Under the raging thunder, people fled in panic, crying and wailing, begging for someone to save them. But the current police are unable to protect themselves. How can they guarantee the lives of civilians? Woo, who will save us? Where are the superheroes? Where are the superheroes? Spider-Man, and the female knight. Why aren't they here yet? The news shows that they are dealing with the Lizard Man incident in another block. I'm so embarrassed. Then we are not finished. Why are there monsters everywhere? What's wrong with this world? As soon as someone got into the car and was about to escape, he was killed by a strong electric current shot by Max. A deep sense of despair shrouded the neighborhood. Superhero, let me see who is calling me. Quote, bump. Gold Red's battle armor fell in front of Max. Tony Stark, Iron Man appears. Tony aimed his cannon at Max, gathering energy. Little Gwandrin, you should go to jail. Crackling. Max raised his hand with a thick blue bolt and sent him flying. Superhero. It's nothing more than that. Sir, the battle suit is fully charged, and some of it is overflowing. Please release the energy as soon as possible. JARVIS, you say full. Tony looked at the small electric sparks that popped up from time to time on the armor on his body, and was a little dazed. Is it so fierce? Yes, sir. Please release as soon as possible. All right. A thick beam of light shot out from Tony's chest, attacking Max. Try this too. It's useless. I'm invincible. Max was careless and didn't flash. Then it was shot out by Tony's big beam of light and smashed back into the Osborn building. Only then did he realize that although he was immune to physical attacks like bullets, he was not without weaknesses. He can't ignore energy attacks. In a blink of an eye, the lights on every floor of the Osborn building suddenly went out one by one. Max, who gathered more electric current, rushed out. Trash. He's bluer and stronger. Electric tongues spewed out from Max's body, entwined towards Tony. This time he wanted to change his tactic. Instead of attacking directly, try to disintegrate the turtle shell. Because he discovered that he can control electrical appliances. There is electric current in all directions. Even though Tony's steel battle suit was fast, it was too late to avoid it, and was drilled into the armor by the electric current. Max and Tony are connected by electric current. He is invading, he is manipulating. Mr. Detected. JARVIS. Tony shouted anxiously. He felt that the armor was getting more and more out of his control. Although because of emergency insulation measures, he will not be hurt by the electric current inside. But JARVIS is dead, and he's about to be slaughtered next. Mr. Stark, next time you'd better add a charge-repelling template to the battle suit. Black's Night Spider battlesuit flashes. Yi Li used his standard way of entering the game, falling from the air and kicking Max. He is also wrapped around the electric current, which repulses electricity on the contrary and directly bounces Max out. Black Spider. Tony, who was freed from the electric current, was overjoyed and quickly started to wake up Jarvis. At the same time, he reminded Yi Li, "Be careful, this guy is immune to physical attacks." "I know." Yi Li's tone was indifferent, and he walked towards Max slowly, not dodging or avoiding the oncoming electric current. Blue's electric arc struck his black windbreaker, unable to penetrate an inch. Not an electrical appliance. Max had also read the report of the Black Spider before, and thought that the battle suit on him was also electrified. It now appears that it should not be. But Max has a way. He spread out a few bolts of electricity with both hands, sinking into the surrounding cars. The vehicle's headlights and brakes came on instantly, turned on automatically, and accelerated violently and slammed into Yi Li. "There's even a big truck in it. Create you to death. Ha ha ha." Under Max's grin, Yi Li kicked his foot, and a car rolled over and overturned. With a push of his right hand, the truck stopped, and the big wheels spun helplessly, wiping out white smoke on the ground, which could not shake Yi Li at all. Then Yi Li's vibe ability activates. The transparent ripples spread out like ripples, and the truck and other approaching vehicles were reduced to powder in an instant. This is the structure being shaken apart. Max's laughter stopped abruptly. After he regained his composure, he spoke forcefully. "It seems that you still have some skills. Then let me try it out for myself." Quote. The electric current emitted was taken back by Max, and his body became more and more solid. Max's ability can not only use energy to attack, as long as he can absorb more electricity, his physical strength can also be enhanced. Wait until the electric current is completely absorbed. Yi Li has also come to him. Max smiled coldly and punched him with one punch. He wants to try his strength with the Black Spider. Boom. Yi Li spread one hand with 5 fingers, and easily held Max's fist, and commented. "The strength is not bad, just give me a massage." Max twitched his hand and found that it was not moving at all. At the moment when he was distracted because of anger, the shock wave transmitted from the palm of Yi Li's hand to his whole body, shaking the body composed of electric current to pieces. Max panicked. This strange ability of the Black Spider can actually affect his energy body. As soon as this idea flashed across his mind, before he could release the entity and escape, Yi Li shook him and dissipated into invisible. Tony, who was still calling Jarvis, was taken aback. When? There was only Iron Man in the audience, and the others had already run away. This time, there were finally no crowds watching. Only people with long-range cameras dared to shoot at a long distance. After all, Electro-Optical Man's killing range is too wide, and if he touches it, he will die. Under Yi Li's mask, there was still no expression on his face, and he stood there quietly, as if waiting for something. After a brief silence, strands of electric current reconverged, and Max's body reappeared. "Ha ha, ha ha, so I am immortal." The revived Max laughed arrogantly. "Black Spider, you have tried your best. What else can you do now?" He walked up to Yi Li carelessly, looking like, "What can you do to me?" Yi Li reached out and pressed his shoulder, and the vibe ability was activated again, shaking him into nothingness. But Max continued to recover. So repeatedly, Max became more and more arrogant, and he condensed into an entity to fight Yi Li in close quarters. He knew that he couldn't hurt the Black Spider, but he wanted to fight a war of attrition and exhaust the Black Spider to death. But fight and fight, Max found that Yi Li was not only not panicked, but was still chanting something. It's a language he doesn't understand. Heaven and Earth Xuanzong, the root of 10,000 Qi. Yi Li whispered softly in his mouth. Extensive cultivation for billions of kalpas, to prove my supernatural power. Revised golden light curse. Max saw that a little gold lacquer emanated from Yi Li's eyebrows, covering his whole body in an instant. And it came out of the body and leaned towards him. When Max came back to his senses, he found that his body surface had been covered with a layer of golden light. Moreover, his electric current can't be emitted. Unbelievably, Max transformed into an electric current form and wanted to escape, but was still trapped by Yi Li's golden light spell. What the hell is this? In Max's struggle, Yi Li used the golden light spell as the medium, and the trembling waves kept penetrating inward, and Max's electric body also continued to collapse. Without the supplement of external electricity, Max gradually weakened, and each time the condensed body became more and more illusory. So what if you defeat me? You can't kill me. Max shouted frantically in the golden light. If you can't kill me, let me go. Otherwise, when I run out, I will find you, a guy who dare not show your face. I don't believe that your family and friends are as strong as you. You better think it over for me. Quote. Unmoved, Yi Li whispered, didn't you want to die a long time ago? What? Max froze. How do you know? Then he thought of something. He calmed down and said, did you read the news? What do you mean by this now? No, I didn't read the news. Yi Li also temporarily stopped the attack, and said step by step, think about it, when you were rescued that day, who was there? Max recalled, it's you. It's you who touched the cobweb girl. The cobweb girl is what he called Cindy. Yi Li stretched his hand to Cindy's chest that day, and he hated it for a long time. Later, Max couldn't find any trace of Cindy on the internet, so he wanted to check Yi Li's information and find Cindy indirectly. It's a pity that after Yi Li has hacker skills, he supervises his online information very well, and he can know whoever queries him frequently. Yi Li doesn't want Max to find out, as long as Max's related account, equipment, IP address, etc. are blocked, Max can't find his information on the internet at all. So you are the Black Spider. Max is still angry. Under the effect of super spider telepathy, Yi Li could easily read his psychology, and mocked, I don't even know her name, how pitiful it is. Asshole. Max trembled with anger, and the electric current that made up his body seemed to be collapsing. Hee, dare to threaten me. See if I can piss you off. Yi Li tilted his head slightly, and said, and more than that, the person who pushed you from behind that day was also me. Boom. Max's body exploded and dissipated. He was blown away. You defeated Gwen Stacy's enemy of fate. You can choose one of the following rewards. 1. Monetary reward. $1 million US. 2. Random reward. Electrician wrench. 3. Servant reward. Transform Maxwell, Max, Dylan, Electric Man. The system pops up a message. Max isn't dead yet. He gathers again. The body is very illusory, but he stubbornly refuses to die, still muttering to himself. I am immortal. I am immortal. If Yi Li continues to disperse Max's body continuously, maybe he can really kill Max. But he didn't have that time and patience anymore. Choose 3. Make choices with Yi Li. Max's body also gradually began to really dissipate. What did you do? Yi Li laughed, become a puppet. There is a system, but it is so unreasonable. Club, training ground side, in the yoga room of the gym. Barbara is wearing a black loose gauze, and her gold hair is loose. She poses in a flexible pose, pretending to be practicing yoga, but is actually taking the opportunity to secretly observe the training ground. She is currently the only one in the yoga room equipped with this club. After all, on the bright side, the Ghost Spider Club is still a fan gathering, and not many people will practice yoga here. Barbara. Sky ran in with her notebook in her arms. I'm sorry, you just joined the club, so I'm here to disturb you. It doesn't matter, your club is very big, and there is even a separate yoga room, I like it very much. Barbara was thinking, this club really has a big problem, in her heart, and she was arguing with Sky on her lips, do you need me for anything? Sky hesitated, there are some things, I don't know if you are willing to help. She secretly thought that Yi Li had so many bad ideas that she actually wanted to find Barbara, a spy, to do coolie work. If it can help. While maintaining a difficult posture, Barbara responded, I will try my best. After all, you are so respectful to me, and you have allocated a separate rest room, which makes me very flattered. Then I'll just say it. Extraordinary incidents broke out in many places in New York City. Jessica and Ghost Spider went to stop it together. Sky smiled politely and said, let me direct at the club, I can ask your opinion when I have time. Barbara, ask for my opinion. I didn't say I understand tactical command, how did he know? Barbara, who had a series of question marks in her heart, still maintained her expression on her face. So you are here. Yi Li appeared out of nowhere at this time, and glanced at Barbara by the way. She is now in a posture with her legs crossed over her shoulders. Tisk. This flexibility. It is the top among common people. It's a pity that it's still not as good as Gwen. Barbara was interrupted by him and didn't continue to say anything. However, he did not stop practicing yoga. Instead, she changed her posture without anyone else around, allowing Yi Li to fully appreciate her attractive figure. You've been in the bathroom for a long time. Sky saw Yi Li coming back and reported to him. Jessica and Gwen are already here. The latest news has not come back. It should have fought against the lizard man. Quote, Yi Li stroked his chin and considered. The most difficult electro-optical man has been solved. He didn't bother to brush the rest of the monsters. Leave that to Gwen and Jessica. Sitting in the center of the town, there is nothing to command. Let's go and see. Quote, the other side. The battle building. From a friend, Jessica looked at the blue lightsaber in her hand. The big brother still has such a magical friend. Whoosh, whoosh. Gwen shot a lot of cobwebs, strengthening Connor's restraints, wrapping him into a white cocoon. She now has a much larger reserve of web shooters, and she is not afraid of running out in a short time. In the past, if it was used so extravagantly, the reserves would probably bottom out in a short time. Everything you give is amazing. Gwen raised her wrist too, eyeing the web shooters, loving the new toy. I am even happier when I think it was sent by Yi Li. Leave that alone, Gwen. Jessica looked at Peter, who was ravaged by the venom. This black guy is so fierce, the nerd looks miserable under the pressure. Should we save him? Yeah, and Peter, almost forgot. No wonder Gwen forgot about Peter. He looks like a lizard monster now, which always makes people think of him as a lizard man, not Peter Parker. Gwen looked at the green lizard and the black monster pinched together. Although I don't know what happened to make Peter become like this, let's save him from the black monster first. Compared with the unknown venom, Gwen still prefers to help the neighbors. After all, Connor's plan was blocked, and Peter was also responsible. Give it to me. Jessica raised her lightsaber and ran over. Watch me hack this black monster. Ling Lai behind the venom perception doesn't care about Peter, who has been peeled off a pile of scales under it. The thick lower limbs bounced hard, and landed not far away, pulling away the distance from Jessica. The female knight, Jessica, and ghost spiders. Thompson in Venom, taking the lead at this time, suddenly shouted loudly, "You are all accomplices, why didn't you come and save me earlier that day? You're in cahoots with Peter, aren't you? You did it on purpose." Huh, this one can talk too. Jessica paused, and asked Thompson strangely, "Who are you?" Thompson said angrily, "I am Venom. I want to make you feel the pain." He finished yelling. Venom's voice became hoarse again, making some weird hissing syllables. See. Appears very neurotic. Quote question mark. It's inexplicable. Jessica didn't care. She jumped up and gave Venom a sword. And yelled awkwardly. Yi Li taught her the way. Drink, smash, washin'. The lightsaber waved into a blue curtain in the night. The Venom perceives danger, and dare not rob its edge. With its speed advantage, it quickly avoided Jessica's slash, and rushed towards Peter again. It still wants to kill Peter first. Do you think I'm easy to bully? Peter also jumped on it angrily, and was torn together with the Venom again. The green scales were torn off and grew rapidly again. The black liquid was torn apart, and then retracted. Both sides you come and I go under. Peter was hammered again. ... After all, if you can't beat it, you can't beat it. Fortunately, this time Jessica arrived with a lightsaber in hand, and found the gap to avoid Peter's swipe at the Venom. The lightsaber sliced through Venom's black muscles without hindrance. In other words, the symbiont actively avoided the scorching heat. Several times in a row. The Venom is all shallow wounds. Jessica only cut open the outer symbiote, and did not hurt the inner Thompson. It's too responsive. Seeing that Jessica were working together, but they couldn't hold the Venom, Gwen stepped forward to help. But at this moment, her spider telepathy works. The cobweb shot out instantly, stuck to the edge of the building, and dragged Gwen across. Jingle. On the spot, a metal object fell down, making a crisp sound. And the next second, boom, fireworks scattered. It's an exploding pumpkin grenade. Spider. Gia. Harry appeared with a smirk on his Green Goblin skateboard. He had not forgotten his father's secret will. Only by getting Spider-Man's blood will they have a chance to cure their family genetic disease. Green Goblin. Gwen didn't talk nonsense. As soon as he raised his hands, 2 cobwebs shot towards Harry. Snapped, snapped, 2 small sticking sounds. The improved web shooters fire faster, and the cobweb successfully sticks to the Green Goblin skateboard under Harry's feet. Harry didn't care. Just as Gwen was about to pull the cobweb, 2 tiny missiles fired from the front of the Green Goblin's skateboard. Gwen had to let go of the cobweb, and agility rolled back down the building, avoiding the incoming missile. Definitely, she didn't really jump off the building, but stuck to the vertical outer wall. After hearing 2 explosions, spider telepathy activates. No danger. No. In the moonlight, Gwen jumped up with a nimble posture, and rolled up again in the blink of an eye, with smooth and flowing movements. But she was surprised when she saw the scene on the roof, and immediately threw a cobweb ball, the equipment given by Yi. Because a green arm knife popped out of Green Goblin's arm, cutting open the cobweb white cocoon that bound Connors. Harry didn't have time to dodge. He didn't pay much attention to this little thing. With a wave of the arm knife, the small ball was easily chopped open. Just at the same time, White's cobweb also exploded from it. Shit, Harry was tied to the cocoon by the cobweb. Fortunately, his strength is very strong, and Connors is about to break free. When Gwen cobweb swings over, both Green Goblin and Dr. Lizard broke free. Not good. Gwen immediately changed position to the side and withdrew the kick she was about to kick. She doesn't have the confidence to hit too. But just when Gwen thought Connor would team up with the Green Goblin against her, Connors suddenly threw Harry on the ground. Osborn, you treacherous fellow. You. Harry was vomiting blood with rage. Shouldn't you be fighting Spider-Man? She and the female knight ruined your device. Gwen was also dumbfounded. Do these criminals like to pinch each other? Which should she deal with first now? Forget it, go help Jessica first. Gwen turned her attention to Jessica and Peter, who were still struggling with Venom. Cobweb shot. Venom's feet are glued, but it was quickly separated by the symbiont and failed to cause any impact. This monster is really difficult to deal with. Seeing that her cobweb worked, Gwen didn't rush to take action anymore, but thought of a way to deal with Venom. Connors, I know it's you. Harry, who had also been injected with the Green Goblin serum, exerted force on his hands, burst out with strength, pushed Connors away, and then said persuasively, I know you have a lot of dissatisfaction, but that's not what I think. Connors didn't continue to pounce, and asked, this is Norman Osborn's Green Goblin equipment. Who are you? I am. Harry hesitation. The infamy after his father's identity was exposed was still vivid in his memory, but he didn't dare to reveal his identity casually. So Harry made up a lie. Connors, I'm not from Osborn. You don't have to be so on guard. We can join forces and I can help you. Definitely. In exchange, you have to help me. Help me. Kong Ansi turned his head and glanced at his launching device, which had been split in 2. Harry immediately coaxed, we can make a new one, and I can also take you to a better place to install the launcher. Connors is heartbroken. Gwen, who was observing the battle and trying to deal with Venom, heard a sound from the left. She reacted quickly and jumped in the air to the upper right side on the spot. Dodge. Kong Ansi's sharp claws swung in the air. Then she tilted her head deftly. The whistling sound passed by his ears, avoiding the impact of the hairy Green Goblin skateboard again. How capricious. Quote, Gwen quickly shoots the cobweb, widening the distance. Why is it always her who gets mobbed? Oops, something happened to Gwen. Seeing that Gwen seemed to be under siege, Jessica hurried over to help. Bookworm, hold this monster for a while. I'll help Spider-Man. Peter wanted to cry but had no tears. I was being hammered. Gwen was once again under attack. This time, she felt that there should be no black spider to save her. A series of gunshots suddenly continued. This attracted everyone on the roof, including the police camera drone. Without him, the gunshot sounded like an AK rifle, but it was too continuous, like a machine gun. And with this string of gunshots, Connors, who was double-teaming Gwen, also continuously sprayed sparks, and soon his scales were shattered, Blood and flesh flew everywhere, and the lizard's body was beaten back and forth. Ah! Connors screamed. The speed of his self-healing couldn't even keep up with the speed of the metal storm. Who is it? Gwen followed the continuous metal flames and cast his eyes. See the stairs at the top of the building. Yi Li was holding an extremely gorgeous AK rifle, and kept shooting at Connors. Leave. Gwen was both surprised and delighted. Jessica also rushed over here. In a few steps, he jumped into the air and slashed at Harry with a lightsaber from behind. Harry only had time to jump out of the way, rolling to the ground with the green goblin board smashed under his feet. Before he got up, there was a burning sensation in front of the neck. Jessica put the lightsaber in front of his neck. If you touch this thing, you will lose your head. Seeing Jessica's movements, Yi Li thought to himself, kill it, why keep it? He felt that Gwen and Jessica were too soft-hearted, which was not a good habit. Maybe it was the sentence I said at the beginning, in order to load the novice template, the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. The 3 views on them are overcorrected. This is not okay, they have to be broken back. Yi Li felt that she had to set an example and give them a wake-up call. Ever since, he suddenly stopped shooting. Oh, there is no bullet. Connor's pupils elongated suddenly. After being shot by Yi Li for so long, his anger and hatred have reached the peak. Go to hell with me. Connors burst out with an unprecedented speed in an instant. Even Gwen had no time to stop it, and it rushed in front of Yi Li. Die. Lizardman Green's big hand clapped. Yi Li raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and before it touched him, he jumped backwards. It looked like he was shot flying by the lizardman. And flew out of the roof. Connors. He looked at his palm in wonder. Why don't you feel real? Did the lizard serum produce any new abilities, such as shooting people from the air? No, big brother. At this time, 2 screaming female voices sounded at the same time. Connors only felt a flash of black and white powder flashing past him. The other side. Go away. Jessica kicked Harry hard, sending Harry flying. The force was so great that he even spit out a mouthful of blood after turning a few times. Just a few breaths. Connors suddenly felt a chill behind him. Then, there's no after that. His green body. A few cuts that glowed with blue light were drawn across. Turned into pieces of meat. The beach landed at the feet of a pair of black cloth boots. Behind, it was a figure exuding a gloomy aura. Female knight. Jessica. Green's blood, spattered on her metal mask. A few spots remain. At the moment of death, Connors returned to the light. He wanted to understand something. Not a lizard study to wake yourself up to. His last thought was, there are dirty things. Tama de plays me. Leave. Here Yi Li fell rapidly. Regardless of Gwen's disregard, she also jumped off immediately. Is this overplaying? Yi Li thinks that maybe a more tactful way should be used. When he was about to hit the ground, Gwen finally counted the distance, and the cobweb launched and stuck to him. But because of the elasticity of the cobweb, Yi Li is still falling. This scene reminded him of the scene where Spider-Man Peter rescued Gwen in Extraordinary Spider-Man 2 Inches he watched in his previous life. Because cobweb is too elastic, Spider-Man failed to save people. The common version of Gwen ended up hitting the ground after being caught by the cobweb, dead. But Yi Li is definitely impossible to die. Even if he falls to the ground, he will be fine. And before falling to the ground a few seconds, as soon as he was lightened, he fell into a warm embrace. Jessica hugged Yi Li, and a silver-white streamer was generated under the soles of her boots, supporting her to float in midair. She can fly. Can I fly? Only then did Jessica realize that she actually flew down in a panic. Yi Li heard her cute tone. She seemed to be in the same state as usual. If you ignore the green blood on the metal mask. Thanks to you, Jessica. Gwen also fell down at this time, and said with lingering fear, otherwise, I might not be able to save Li. Yi Li felt that the sudden decision to play a wave this time seemed a bit hasty. He subconsciously said, sorry. Sorry for what? The 2 girls wondered at the same time. Yi Li choked. Think about it, he said smoothly, what I told you before, the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. In fact, I haven't finished it yet, and there is still a second half of it. Jessica asked curiously, is there another half of the sentence? Ahem. Yi Li cleared his throat and said solemnly. The greater the ability, the greater the responsibility, and the greater the power. I think, Gwen, Jessica, you have the right to judge your enemies. Quote. Judgment. Gwen and Jessica realized what had just happened. This night, the two girls grew up again. Go back to the roof. On the way, Jessica caught Harry trying to escape. Together with Gwen, he performed a mixed doubles on him and brought him back. What about this guy? Jessica threw Harry, who had been beaten into a pig's head, to the ground. I didn't expect Harry to inherit his father's business. It's so disappointing. Harry's mask was knocked off. She returned the lightsaber to Gwen. Gwen, do you want to judge him? Gwen's hand trembled, but under the influence of the falling incident just now, she took it by accident. Get rid of evil. If the enemy is not cleared, what if the opponent does not practice martial arts and hurts friends and family? But the target is a former classmate, Gwen, who has never killed anyone before, so he really can't do it. At this time, a hand held her wrist. Yi Li turned off the lightsaber and took it back, comforting Gwen. Don't force yourself, just do what you want, follow your heart. Li. Gwen was so moved that Li was the most gentle. Jessica pursed her lips. It's not fair, I accidentally killed Dr. Connors. Yi Li took a look at the green minced meat that was still piled up on the roof. Are you sure you missed it? These are all broken into pieces. You should just be. Yi Li also comforted Jessica. Kill a big lizard. That can be the same. Jessica gave him a blank look, but as long as Big Brother is fine. What about Harry? Green Goblin. Gwen glanced at Harry. His mouth was so swollen that he couldn't speak, so he could only whine for mercy. Notify Director George, Yi Li said lightly. The truth has been learned. Harry can save some rewards. There is no need to let Gwen and the others deal with it. I said. In the corner of the roof, Peter, who had been bruised all over his body by the venom, screamed in this direction. Did you forget me? Help. Quote. Peter is in a bad situation right now. The scales on his body were ripped off. If it wasn't for his powerful self-healing ability, he wouldn't be able to survive now. Yi Li picked up his fire. Kilinik 47 was about to fire a few shots to the venom. This gun actually has infinite bullets, and he played the role of running out of bullets before. Is this gun also given by a friend? Okay. Jessica didn't know the word show bag, and she didn't know how to describe Yi Li's gun properly. Okay. So special. Handsome. After Yi Li took aim, the bullets were about to pour out. Li, you should leave first. Gwen stopped him at this point. She worried. This place is too dangerous for you, just leave it to us. That's good. It seems that the actor's acting skills just now made Gwen a lot more cautious. Yi Li put away his gun. That's up to you, I'll wait for you downstairs. Gwen straightened the hood of the uniform with both hands, and the beautiful eyes under White's mask looked at Venom very seriously. Leave it to us. Jessica also took off the metal mask, threw it aside, and slightly inserted it into the concrete floor. Her feet brushed against the ground. Yinhua was born on her own, and kicked Venom's head with a streamer. Time flies. After the battle on the roof is over. Police cars surround the building. Jessica, what do you want me to tell you? Chief George reprimands Jessica. Look at you, don't listen to your big brother, stay at home, and then run out to be a superhero. How did I tell you it was coming? This kind of thing is too dangerous. Even if you have an ability different from ordinary people, don't do it. You are still young, what can you do wrong? Why can't you keep your focus like Lee? Jessica nodded her index fingers and listened aggrieved. She came down to look for Big Brother after the venom, but was caught by George Uncle. Gwen, that dishonest guy, covered his face, left her and ran away without saying hello. Occasionally, when George, a stern elder, was not paying attention, she gave an angry look to a direction. Look at your father. Gwen, who was hanging on an elevated street lamp in the distance, looked amused, put on her Bluetooth headset, and swayed away with Cobweb while listening to music. Leaving poor Jessica alone to be educated by George's spouting words. Venom was repulsed by Jessica, Gwen, and Peter, and the incident was considered to be over. Yi Li returned home leisurely, feeling very happy. He found that there were 2 more reward selection opportunities. You defeated. You can choose one of the following rewards. You defeated. You can choose one of the following rewards. It turned out that he didn't need to fight the enemy alone, as long as he participated in the battle with Gwen and the others, he would also be rewarded after defeating the opponent. It's a pity that I didn't shoot the Venom, and the reward selection didn't pop up, so I can only talk about it later. Fortunately, these 2 random rewards were finally no longer garbage like refreshing soda. Constant source quality x3. Constant source quality. After use, the body does not need to replenish energy and any required substances to maintain a normal state. Very special item. Super Spider telepathy told him that this thing might be of great use in the future, so he chose to keep it and not use it in a hurry. The remaining random reward, Yi Li, is very familiar, or familiar and strange. 12 Talismans Enhanced Version. Enhanced Edition. Yi Li was about to try this so-called enhanced version, just how strong it was, when someone knocked lightly on the window of the room. Dang dang. Who? It's late at night now. Yi Li went to open the window. All of a sudden, Gold's hair fell loose. Again, before Yi Li could say anything, he felt Gwen's hair floating on his face. Then there is 4 points of enthusiasm, 4 points of dexterity, and 2 points of playful touch. Gwen moved gently, put her hands on the windowsill and began to change her body shape, gradually changing from an upside-down posture to facing Yi Li. As we all know, rotation has a center point. At this time, Gwen wrapped her arms around Yi Li. 2 catkins were resting on the back shoulders, and the long legs of the wandering thin python were also entangled. The girl just grabbed like an octopus. Yi Li felt the delicate body in his arms, and consciously or unintentionally pushed him to a certain direction. He cooperated with this force and slowly backed away. Gwen slightly opened her sapphire eyes full of waves, and the cobweb shot out from her wrist, sticking to the approaching destination. Then with a gentle pull, the 2 of them fell down. The morning light shines through the curtains, reflecting on the faces of a pair of people next door, as beautiful as a picture scroll. The corners of the girl's eyes are full of spring, her white and tender face and moist pink lips are clear and distinct. Her slender eyelashes trembled, and she opened her eyes. Remember something. Gwen was sweet and happy in her heart, but also excited. Isn't Li from the common people? Why is her back so sore now? Leg numbness. Leave. Gwen whispered to Yi Li, "Good morning." A soft greeting is heard. Yi Li opened his sleepy eyes. What happened? Oh, right. I worked hard all night yesterday. After fighting the supervillain, I have to fight the superhero when I get home. It's not easy. Gwen's tongue slipped over her beautiful lips, and she smiled slyly. You're very energetic in the morning. Yi Li reached out and rubbed her hair, because Gwen is so cute. The little Spider-Man squinted her eyes comfortably, her smile turned into warmth and love. Li, starting today, I'm completely yours, are you happy? Yi Li was in distress yesterday, and under some panic, she made a decision and took this step on her own initiative. To be precise, it should be several steps, and there are a lot of new ways to unlock. Hill, what do you want to ask me? Sipping a cup of milk tea, Barbara contacted Hill in her temporary residence. Yes, I have checked it out. Ghost Spider Club is not just a fan club, they even have a training ground dedicated to superhero. It is certain that the Ghost Spider has also joined this club. She always acts with the female knight Jessica. The one last night. Oh, the internet is called Night of Heroes. Not only Ghost Spiders and female knights participated in the action, Sky also provided information support with her hacking skills. Barbara thought for a while and said, there is also that Yi Li. I think he is also abnormal, he may have the ability to read minds. Hill, it can be confirmed that this club is a folk hero organization. I will have someone record it. In addition, what you said, Yi Li who can read minds, I guess, is because of this. Hill said, and sent a piece of information to Barbara. Barbara opened it to check. It was a record of SHIELD's external image being hacked, which happened to include her name. Although there is only one name and no photos, it can already confirm some things. Barbara, oh my god, those guys are really dry food. Hill, I think we should tighten our defenses, otherwise you know how many agents this sieve-like firewall will kill. She regretted telling Yi Li her real name by accident, but he seemed to have known it for a long time. Barbara, I still think this Yi Li is weird. Hill, then continued to investigate. As for your complaint about the internet department, I will report it to Fury. Don't worry, they are not as incompetent as you think. Through anti-intrusion, they have found out that Skye joined a hacker organization called Rising Tide. Her technical strength has improved rapidly. It can be seen that we believe that she has great potential as an agent, and we are not mistaken. In addition, our chief has a special plan to recruit excellent superhero. The female knights did a good job last night, and they can be used as observation targets to be determined. You continue to stay in the Ghost Spider Club, maybe when the time comes, you will be needed. Click. The bathroom door opened and a puff of hot air came out. The little feet with round toes stepped out with drops of water, and then the smooth and white ankles, from which Jessica wrapped in a towel, stepped out. She was so exhausted yesterday that she didn't have time to take a shower when she came back, so she fell asleep and woke up to take a comfortable hot bath. Morning news: a terrorist electric man rushed out of the Osborn building, causing a large number of casualties. The public thinks that the Osborn group, which has frequent terrorist attacks, is still necessary. The Black Spider and the mysterious Iron Man teamed up to solve the disaster. We have heard about the Black Spider for a long time, so will this person in the golden and red armor be the new superhero? Some enthusiastic netizens named the mysterious Iron Man, Electric Man, Lizard Man, Black Monster, and the reappearance of Green Goblin. Super criminal incidents are frequent, and the New York police revealed their hard work last night. At the same time, Black Spider, Iron Man, Ghost Spider, and Female Knight also turned the tide yesterday and prevented multiple crises. All hero fans unite and evaluate last night as the night of heroes. The Big Brother is real, and the TV is not turned off. Jessica, who was wiping her wet long hair with a towel, walked over and turned off the TV. It's just that as soon as the TV was turned off, she heard the creaking and shaking sound, and Gwen. Jessica followed the voice furtively and reached the door of Yilei's room. Gwen didn't care about Jessica's arrival at all, not even spider telepathy. Brushing her blonde hair around her forehead, she curled her toes. Similar to movements in Latin dance. The clock ticked over an hour. Jessica couldn't help reminding in a low voice, "Gwen, your family should be getting up soon, you'd better go back quickly." "Fine." Gwen hooked her hair behind her ear with her little finger, and a smile appeared on her face. "Climb over the window away, and it's my room, wait for a while." After another 10 minutes, boo. Only then did Gwen feel that the time was almost up, and said goodbye to Yilei. "Lee, I'll go back first." Yilei replied lazily, "Let your mother make more delicious food for you. Little Spider-Man, your combat effectiveness is still a little bit." Gwen stuck out her tongue and made a grimace. "Anyway, I can't beat you, so go find someone else." I don't know if Gwen is serious or joking. But Yilei acquiesced that she was serious. Because Gwen finished speaking, Jessica helped her to take a shower. After washing, Gwen also put on Jessica's clothes. No way, her spider battlesuit is already the ultimate battle-damaged version. Wait for Gwen to come home in Jessica's clothes. Yilei looked around the room. What a mess. Mizusawa. Traces of a writing desk. A black strip was casually thrown onto a deck chair. On the ceiling, a cobweb-woven cobweb hammock is hung with a few pieces of black and white rags, and the cobweb seems to be damp. Is it so high? Yilei thinks back, it seems like he played crazy last night. Slight spider telepathy. Yilei looked towards the door of the room, and the cheap sister came over to peep sneakily again. "Jessica, come and help Big Brother with the cleaning." "Don't want," Jessica said disgustedly. "I won't clean up the mess for you." "Obedient," Yilei said flickeringly. "It's just tidying up the room, don't you usually do it too often?" "That's right, then help you once." Jessica's eyes flickered. She raised her calf and hooked the door belt of the house, and said coyly, "It's just cleaning up the room." Time passed quickly again. Today, Yilei stayed in the studio. As a fisherman, he naturally wouldn't work honestly. Add a touch to the painting, and then flirt with Skye, the little assistant, or play with the 12 zodiac charms for a while. This is an enhanced version of the 12 talismans. Yilei has already tried ability. It is really fierce. Take the snake charm, which turned out to be rather tasteless, as an example. Originally, the snake charm could only be invisible, and it was easy to see through. However, the strengthened snake charm not only has a larger invisibility range, but also has the function of arbitrary teleportation. Stealth and teleportation, this is hard to guard against. And other strengthened spells, such as the cow charm of geometric amplification constitution, regenerative healing factor dog charm, super speed rabbit charm, etc., are also more powerful than each other. This also led to the superhero Black Spider gradually disappeared from the public eye. Because now Common's super criminal, Yi Li, doesn't even need to show up. They are often inexplicably, they are all kinds of ability GG. Finish playing the spell. A small gold ball popped out of Yi Li's palm, swirling round and round, quite cute. The potential of this modified golden light curse is much stronger than he imagined. It is a skill that can grow with strength. Describe with painting. This golden light curse is like a blank sheet of paper, and other abilities can be attached to it like colored pens and inks. And the stronger he is, the stronger the golden light curse, the white paper that carries ability. As for the basic martial arts attached to the golden light curse, both Jessica and Gwen have almost mastered them. The next step is to teach them the golden light spell. With Gwen's Chinese ability, she is no problem. It's Jessica's tongue-twisting level, so it should be difficult to learn. They don't have a system, and they can only practice slowly if they want to learn. There is a feeling of playing with a beautiful girl. By the way, Dot and Tony, the agreed battle suit hasn't been given to him yet. Is he being lazy? When Yi Li thinks about things. The golden ball in his hand was wandering around restlessly, and was soon noticed by Sky. Is this some new tech toy? She poked her fingers and felt the bouncing touch. It's quite interesting. Yi Li smiled mysteriously. There are more interesting ones. Controlled by the mind, the golden light ball slowly protruded, and a small tentacle formed and protruded out. Under his control, Gold's little tentacles wrapped around Sky's fingers like a part of his body. The smooth contact made her shiver. Sky quickly pulled out his fingers. Huh. Why do you feel a little sick? It's obviously cute. Yi Li shook his hand. After spreading the palms again, the gold ball disappeared. Magic. Sky looked more and more wrong, grabbed Yi Li's wrist and looked at his palm carefully. Li, you can't be a super ability, right? Even you have abilities. What do you mean even I have? This is not a supernatural ability, but a kind from the east. Yi Li grabbed Sky's wrist with his backhand, and pulled her over to stick it up, before continuing, well, an ability that can be learned. Sky curled up in his arms, her beautiful eyes beamed with joy. Then can I learn too? She looked forward, like a little rabbit with a carrot hanging in front of her. Yi Li put his hand on Sky's knee, followed the smooth skin, and gradually approached a restricted area. She knew that she would be an assistant today, so she specially wore a short skirt, long boots and thin knee socks, which felt good to the touch. This is to learn a few sentences of Chinese first, classical Chinese. Let me teach you some basic skills first. Let's talk about business. Sky's body limp, resting his head on his shoulder. Don't move your hands. Yi Li took the opportunity to nibble her earlobe, making her tremble. Then do you want to learn? I want to learn. Quote. Sky suppressed someone's mischievous hand, and said angrily, I learned a few fighting techniques, and I can also guard against some perverts. Didn't you feel a little disgusted just now? The corner of Yi Li's mouth curled up into a smile, and golden light appeared from the palm of his hand again. Don't. Sky suddenly grabbed his shoulder with his fingers, and begged for mercy. It's not disgusting, stop it. Ahem. At this time, two figures appeared at the door. One of the black-haired Asian girls coughed twice to remind Yi Li and Sky, who were a bit big. Another white-haired girl with a slender figure said to Yi Li with a coquettish smile, the teacher is very busy, it seems that we came at a bad time. Oh, Cindy, Felicia. Yi Li withdrew his hand to say hello, and said with a joke, no, you came at just the right time. He moved around with Sky in his arms, and waved to the two girls, indicating that there were still places for them here. Felicia smiled politely. She winked secretly at Yi Li. Her eyes were seductive, but she didn't choose to sit there. The book said, girls, you have to be reserved and play hard to get in order to be attractive to the boys you like. When Felicia was thinking so. See you around. Cindy, with a quiet appearance, walked over quickly, and sat quietly and obediently in Yi Li's arms. Disappointing bestie. With a faint smile, Cindy let out a snort. Her upturned part is pressed on Yi Li's leg, her two little feet are gently dangling, and there are moon-shaped emerald anklets on her ankles, which are very eye-catching. Yi Li praised, "It's so beautiful, it matches you very well." Cindy blinked strangely. "Didn't you send me this?" "Ah, is it?" Yi Li looked slightly embarrassed, but quickly adjusted back. He often gave the girls some expensive and beautiful gems and jewelry. There were too many to count, and it was normal to forget. "Would you like to try this, Cindy?" The golden light in Yi Li's palm is in full bloom, the faint electric current forms the pistol, and the gold is mixed with blue, which is even more gorgeous than the last electric flower. "This time is an advanced version, I promise you will like it very much." Cindy embraced him and kissed him lightly, and readily agreed, "I think you should have a lounge here." Sky, who was sitting on the other side, looked at the electric current in Yi Li's hand, with a suspicious expression on his face. This can also be practiced. She always felt like she was being fooled. "We're here to learn how to draw, Cindy." Felicia didn't grab a seat, so she sat down on the table a little unhappy, took out a paintbrush from Yi Li's pen container and played with it. "I'm not here to adjust, eh?" As she spoke, she also saw the cool skills in Yi Li's palm. "Teacher, what's the matter with the flower in your hand? Are you still a part-time magician? Oriental mystical magic." Yi Li continued to flicker. "Do you want to learn?" Cindy and Felicia looked at each other, then nodded their chins together, looking forward. "What kind of painting do you learn? Isn't this much more magical?" Ever since the studio where the painting was originally supposed to be, under the close guidance of Yi Li, 3 young and pretty girls practiced the basic skills of martial arts. Fortunately, his studio is big enough to withstand the toss. And outside the gallery, a black car drives past here. "Happy, stop here," Tony said to his bodyguard and driver. "See if that guy is there, maybe he can take some paintings back." He is not very interested in paintings, but collecting paintings is a common behavior of rich people. Moreover, the owner of this gallery, Tony knows and has some friendship, and the style fits his aesthetics very well. But as soon as Tony entered the studio with the bodyguards, he saw a beautiful spinning whip leg sweeping past his nose, which made him freeze in place. "What's going on? Attack! Tony, be careful." Happy next to him quickly reached into his arms, as if he was about to pull out a pistol. Hey, Happy, calm down." Tony reached out to stop Happy from drawing his gun, and looked at Cindy in front of him. "Little girl, I think this must be a misunderstanding. Are you Mr. Stark?" Cindy saw Tony's report on the news, and said embarrassedly, "Sorry, I was practicing some fighting techniques just now." You walked in suddenly. Because of the Constitution, Yi Li taught Cindy the fastest move, so it happened to sweep Tony's face. Fortunately, her spider telepathy is very strong, and she was able to absorb the newly learned moves in time. Well, it's my fault too. Tony has always been gracious towards beautiful women, not to mention a girl of her age who is still in high school." He then turned his gaze to Yi Li, who was surrounded by girls, and greeted Yi Li in a Mai Tai way. "Why are you still so crude? You should listen to me and redecorate it." Yi Li was also a little surprised by Tony's arrival, and replied, "Big rich man, why come to my place when you have time?" "I don't have time to buy paintings, I just stopped by to have a look." Tony glanced at Sky, Felicia and Cindy with different styles, and couldn't help admiring them. "You have really good vision, but you are a little younger, but it is just right for you." Yi Li raised his eyebrows. Why did he always feel that Tony was talking about him abducting an ignorant girl? Chapter 51. Then you should also know. Yi Li, who had just instructed Sky and the others, made a gesture of moving her arms. "You interrupted my good business. Are you practicing self-defense with the girls?" Tony had an expression that I understood. "That's really interesting. What's the next step?" "I think you guys should lock the door so I can't get in and get almost kicked." Quote. Seeing that they spoke so directly, the 3 girls were a little shy, and shrank behind Yi Li and did not speak. Including Felicia, who dropped the cold personality in front of Yi Li, was also quiet at this time, and returned to her cool appearance. After all, they are still only high school students. Moreover, Stark's identity also made them less willing to get involved in the conversation between the two. This is a famous playboy. But Tony became interested in Yi Li. "I didn't expect you, an artist, to learn martial arts." He put on a boxing stance, hopped his feet lightly, and invited Yi Li. I'm also practicing boxing with Happy recently, why don't we come and practice? In order to be a good superhero Iron Man, Tony has been practicing fighting recently, but since he just started practicing, his level is not flattering. Just met Yi Li, a rookie who can peck each other, and he definitely will not let go of this opportunity. And Tony Stark, who has always been flirtatious, has no idea about little girls, but he also wants to show his hand in front of young beauties. See Tony's confident look. Yi Li was happy. Good guy, a human sandbag delivered to your door. This is good, it can let Sky and the others see the number of moves more clearly. After all, when you compete with a girl to demonstrate, you always get stuck together. There is no such trouble after playing with Tony. He is confident that he can control his strength, so he is not afraid of killing Iron Man by mistake. Then come on. Yi Li walked to the open space in the middle of the studio and challenged Tony, don't worry, I will keep my hands and I won't hurt you. Talk about it. Tony would naturally not lag behind. He turned his head and told Happy, if I can't hold back later, you hurry up and hold me back. Happy nodded cooperatively, don't worry boss, I will definitely stop you. Tony is satisfied. He bumped his feet and came to Yi Li to look at it, you look a little muscular compared to before, you've trained well. Yi Li boasted, you're not bad either. After the two exchanged a wave of business, they began to hand in hand. Happy was watching closely, as if he was going to pull Tony out at any moment. Sky and Felicia also watched curiously, wanting to know how the fighting skills Yi Li taught them and the actual combat effect. Only Cindy lacked interest. She knew that Stark, a well-known billionaire and scientist, would not be a match for the spider totem. Yi Li didn't care about Tony's fist, he just let Tony demonstrate the moves to the girls, otherwise he would have subdued them with one move. So Tony and Yi Li went through a few moves, and felt that he was being led away. Every punch he made was either avoided or easily parried. Obviously the strength transmitted by the other party is not much different from his own, but he was crushed in terms of skills. Skill, isn't this what you need? Tony's steel armor is not lacking in strength, and he practiced fighting to strengthen his combat effectiveness in terms of skills. While Tony was distracted, Yi Li also showed Sky and the others about the tricks. Seeing that he was absent-minded, he was about to end the discussion on the next move. At this moment, Happy rushed forward shrewdly, pulling Tony back. Boss, your offensive is too fierce, I'm afraid Mr. Yi Li will be overwhelmed. Tony came back to his senses and gave Happy a look of approval. Good job Happy, I almost hurt him, thanks to you there was no accident. Yi Li's dead fish eyes, can you still show some face? But he didn't care either. Happy's fighting skills are also at the level of half a glass of water, and he can always be Tony's bodyguard, more because of his close friend relationship. Tony knew that it wasn't Happy who lost, and he just wanted to save face, so he asked Yi Li, what are you practicing? He wants to learn. Compared to these ingenious tricks, the boxing he practiced before is nothing. Basic martial arts. Yi Li replied to Tony, and then asked the girls, have you seen the number clearly? See clearly. Sky puffed up his little hands, acting like a fangirl. Li, you're so handsome. It looks pretty good. Felicia's slender hands grasped the fist, and she knew this set of fighting techniques. Maybe if you practice this well, you won't be afraid of being harassed by those boys in school who don't know how to count because of her appearance. Cindy had expected the result, but she also sweetly praised, it's great. Tony watched the girls praise Yi Li one after another, but he didn't know that Yi Li treated him like a human sandbag. So he wanted to learn even more, grabbed Yi Li and said, teach me this fighting technique too, I can pay you, and you make the price. Ah, Yi Li yawned, lacking interest and said, it depends on the situation, I will teach you when I have time, you know me. It was only then that Tony remembered how lazy Yi Li was. It took him a long time to customize a painting. Okay, as long as you can come and teach me two hands when you find time, it's just a way to play. Now, how about letting me pick a few paintings to take away? Tony remembered the original purpose, scanned the studio, and picked out the painting he liked. Whatever you want, just pay. Yi Li doesn't care. I have to remind you that although the gallery is where I work, but there are not many paintings, you should go to the art exhibition to pick. Tony couldn't deny it. just pick and choose. I know that your really good things are hidden in the northern mansion. It's good that you know. Don't gossip around and cause me trouble. Yi Li took out a low alcohol bottle from the refrigerator. Do you drink? Definitely. While picking, Tony snapped his fingers. Give me a drink. Yi Li lowered his eyelids, put the wine and glass on the table. Pour yourself. I come. Happy came up, poured a glass for Tony and passed it to himself. Oh, that's good. It's really good. Tony took the drink, but didn't drink it. He said it was a painting on the wall by Yi Li. It's a hot girl. She also came to your place. Seeing that the signing date is earlier than mine, it really belongs to you. Tony recognized that this was the cover actress he had dated, but he couldn't sleep because of the Afghan affairs. Yi Li drank the wine. Don't get me wrong, I'm different from you, just a simple portrait. Tony pouted. Come on, that's why I have a similar interest with you. In his hand, he put the painting back, because he knew that Yi Li's paintings like this would not be sold. There are 3 lovely girls behind me. Yi Li pulled Sky's pinching little hand away. Tony, you should not be blind, it's better to say less. Okay, I apologize. As Tony said, he continued to stroll around with his wine glass in his hand. He suddenly saw something and became interested. Let me see what I found. Tony picked up a small picture frame that was casually thrown in the corner, on which was a figure in gold and red armor. You like Iron Man? Tony shook the ashes on his own portrait. It's not polite to leave it here like this, but it's a good painting. Yi Li said lightly, it's just drawing casually, his armor is pretty good. This one was just drawn by him when he was interested, but he didn't expect to find it out for the owner. I want this one. Tony handed the painting directly to Happy. Then he found Yi Li's bank account number, waved his hand, and typed a large number for him. Yi Li didn't look at the information about the transfer to the account, and waved his hand. It's okay to leave. Tony choked on the words of farewell. I haven't said I'm leaving yet. It seems that you want to chat with your little girlfriend slowly, so I'll go first. Remember what I told you. Fighting technique. ... After Tony left, Yi Li didn't continue to build intimacy with Sky and the others as he thought. Instead, he told them, practice slowly here first, I have something to go out for a while. Go out for a stroll when you have time, and don't give him the battle suit. It seems that it is necessary to follow up and meet Tony with another identity. Tony returned home and wanted to give the painting to his assistant Pepper, but she was nowhere to be seen. Drop. The phone rang. It's Pepper. Before he could answer, his face suddenly turned pale, and Purple's blood vessels protruded. The veteran of Stark Industries, Obadiah Stanislav, stepped out from behind Tony and put away the gadgets in his hands. I really wanted you to see my steel battlesuit, Tony, but I didn't get the chance. He sneered, and took the blue arc reactor from Tony's chest. Too bad, you got Pepper involved, I wanted her to live. Oh, look what this is. Before leaving, Obadiah saw Tony's painting on the sofa, picked it up and laughed. Iron Man. What a ridiculous thing, can saving those refugees make money? Talking, he was about to tear up the painting casually. Although I don't know what you mean by ridiculous, you'd better put that painting down. A voice came from the shadows. Yi Li, dressed as a night spider, walked to Obadiah without haste. Black Spider. Obadiah froze, remembering what was reported some time ago. Tony hooked up with him. Unexpected guy. No matter what Obadiah thinks. Yi Li just patted him on the shoulder, and then took off the painting and arc reactor from his hand. Obadiah dared not resist. He knew that this Black Spider, unlike other superheroes, was never soft on killing people. Even Norman, the chairman of the Osborn group, was crushed to death by him. He swallowed. Black Spider, maybe we can sit down and talk. Yi Li ignored him and just looked at Tony. Tony Stark. I saved you twice. Oh no, 3 times including the one with Electro. I think you should not finish. Hurry up and make what I want. In the future, if I have something to do, I will still look for you. Quote. Tony didn't answer. He couldn't answer either. I can only cry in my heart. Old Iron, can you put the stove on for me first? I'm about to GG. Cough. Although the tone is not like this, the meaning is probably the same. Obadiah, a shrewd businessman, grasped the mystery in Yi Li's words, and immediately promised. Black Spider, you need what Tony can do for you, and I can do it for you. And can do better. Quote, he didn't ask what Yi Li needed, but he boasted first, giving people a sense of confidence. Tony, who was silent, panicked. He can't speak now, he can't make a condition. It's not fair. He felt that he had no friendship with the Black Spider, and it was really possible that the Black Spider would turn against Obadiah. When Tony was worried, Obadiah is still gushing about selling Yi Li. As long as you quit this matter, I can give you more things. Wealth, power, beauty. All you want to mention. Quote. Tony was desperately trying to get the words out, too, so could I. Don't listen to him, BB. Obadiah finished, looking confidently at Yi Li. How about it? I think no one can refuse these conditions, and we will have more cooperation opportunities in the future. Quote. You are noisy. Yi Li grabbed him by the neck. Ah, you. Obadiah, who was lifted up, clasped his iron-like arms with both hands, staring in disbelief. Yi Li tilted his head. You seem to have made a mistake. There's only one Tony Stark, and businessmen like you are everywhere. You take yourself too seriously. While Obadiah's legs were struggling desperately, Yi Li used his favorite execution style to cut off his cervical spine. Although there is no enmity with Obadiah, but since he made a move, this kind of villain still needs to be dealt with. Obadiah is not dead, but the rest of my life will be a vegetable. If Tony decides to keep him alive. The blue arc reactor turned around in Yi Li's hand and stuffed it back into Tony's chest. Boom. Yi Li punched lightly, the arc reactor sank into it, and successfully connected to it. Cough, cough, cough. Tony coughed a few times before he could catch his breath. He patted his chest and looked at Yi Li resentfully. Dude, can you be gentle? Stop talking nonsense. Yi Li said in a bad tone. What about the battle suit? Don't tell me you haven't done it yet. It's finished, and I was going to notify you. Tony supported his weak body to operate. A platform rose not far away. Above are a few high-tech battlesuits, not the type of steel battlesuits, but the more close-fitting ones. Thanks to you again this time. Tony was grateful from the bottom of his heart. However, the way of expressing it is unacceptable. There's only one Tony Stark. Oh, I'd love you if I were a woman. Yi Li took away a few battlesuits, and said disgustedly, if you insult me again, I'll twist your neck too. Hearing this, Tony glanced at Obadiah, whose neck was crooked on the ground, with complicated eyes. It's not dead, you can handle it yourself. After Yi Li put away several portable battlesuits, he threw a black stick to Tony. Can you do this? What's this? Seeing a switch on it, Tony pressed it curiously. With a sizzling sound, blue light burst out instantly, cutting off one corner of the table. Fortunately, he held it at a slant, otherwise it would not be just the table that was cut. Sky, Tony screamed, and quickly straightened it. You didn't tell me it was a lightsaber, I almost got stabbed. So can it be done? Yi Li doesn't care if Tony will be stabbed, he has an enhanced version of the horse charm that brings the dead back to life in his hand, which is a must for ability. Hold on. Tony came to an instrument, turned off the lightsaber and put it on. JARVIS, analyze the structure. Soon, a series of data and structural analysis diagrams were projected by JARVIS. The JARVIS voice sounded, Sir, it is recommended to test the maximum power. Wait for this first. By the way, delete Obadiah's authority and raise the authority of Black Spider to the highest. Quote. While ordering, Tony called up the structural analysis diagram of a spar in the lightsaber. This is the energy source of the lightsaber. JARVIS said at this time. Sorry, sir, I can't do it. The information of Mr. Black Spider was isolated by a special position and could not be identified and entered. Quote. What the hell? Tony looked at Yi Li and asked in surprise, Are you an alien? Just do your job well. Yi Li said lightly, It doesn't matter if you have permission or not, I'll come in as you please. Quote. What else could Tony say? Good, strong. The most special part of this lightsaber has been found. Tony pointed to a crystal-shaped part projected on the screen. This is it. JARVIS checked the database. There is no such material on our planet, and you still say you are not an alien. Yi Li thought to himself, is this kyber crystal? The lightsaber rewarded by the system does not require the user to have the force. He thought the structure would be different, but he did not expect that there was a kyber crystal in it. It seems that this kyber crystal is quite special, it can light up the plasma beam by itself. Can it be made? Find an alternative material or something. Yi Li proposed an idea. I need to test its ability. Tony took Yi Li to the lower laboratory and took out some alloys to cut with a lightsaber. This is the gold titanium alloy I made my steel battle suit, let me try it, this. He didn't finish his sentence. I saw the lightsaber in my hand, splitting the alloy like a hot knife cutting butter. That means, this simple and unfancy weapon can easily split him in two while wearing a steel battle suit. Tor looked at Yi Li silently. People are more popular than Deadman. If a person takes out anything casually, he can easily smash the battle armor he has worked so hard to develop. Take it easy. Tony still analyzed it for Yi Li, using arc reactor technology to replace crystals as the energy source, and then changing the structure. We may be able to make similar things, but the power will not be so strong. Will the power be weakened? Yi Li asked. Insufficient energy. Arc reactor is a small nuclear device, it can't be compared to the system's special kyber crystal. It's not because of a lack of energy. The difficulty is how to restrain the light blade from flying wildly, so the power must be reduced, otherwise it will get out of control. Quote. Tony is also very interested in lightsabers. If his steel battle suit can carry this kind of melee weapon, his combat power will be enhanced a lot. So he asked Yi Li for permission. After the research and development, I want to load this weapon on the steel battle suit. Don't worry, I won't mass produce it without your signature, and the company has also closed the weapon department. You can do whatever you want, but I have one condition. Yi Li thinks this is a good idea. At that time, add it to the battle suit of the ghost spiders. The black line on Tony's forehead, it is much more difficult to load the light blade in the close-fitting battle suit than his steel armor. To burn a lot of brain cells. However, he still agreed to the two benefits. Okay, I will do my best, you wait for the good news. Yi Li nodded in satisfaction. The two continued to research for a while, and Jarvis reported, Sir, Miss Pepper is back. She's fine. Tony stopped working, he had already found time to call Pepper just now. Yi Li's super spider telepathy flashed some images, and realized that Pepper was accompanied by Phil Coulson, an old S.H.I.E.L.D. coolie. You busy? He explained to Tony that the invisibility and teleportation of the snake charm disappeared instantly. Tony stared dumbfounded. Really, come and go as you please. ... Next second, Yi Li's figure reappears in the gallery. Back to the studio, he saw Sky was posting with Cindy. Come, put your hands this way. Cindy stuck behind Sky, held her wrist, and led her to practice the moves. When punching, remember to use your waist. Sky obediently followed the traction and twisted his waist, and the effect was much better. Cindy, you are amazing. Cindy smiled brightly, stretched out her calf, and hooked Sky's foot to correct her footwork. You are very well proportioned, you usually exercise. Sky. I'm exercising with Lee. ... You guys did a good job. Yi Li walked in and looked around. Where's Felicia? She's gone. Cindy poked her head out from behind Sky, and replied, Felicia said something happened at home, so she seemed to be leaving in a hurry. Really? What Yi Li thought of, didn't ask much. He looked at the two girls with a gentle smile, then, let me teach you first. The other side. Felicia hurried to the police station, her pretty brows were frowned, and her eyes were full of sorrow. How come? Isn't my father a salesman? Why do you say he is the civet cat? There must be something wrong. With this in mind, she came to the New York Police Department, wanting to refute her father. But afterwards, the conclusive evidence produced by the director George left her speechless. The police station has spent a lot of effort on the matter of the big thief civet. After a long investigation, we have ample evidence that your father, Walter Hardy, was a civet. Quote. George took the evidence and stated the facts. But when I met the girl in front of me, I was told that her eyes were dull. He couldn't help but lighten his tone. When I was investigating Walter Hardy, I read your information. Felicia Hardy, who attended Midtown High, was my daughter's classmate. As a father, I can understand. It's unfortunate for you that something like this happened, and I hope you'll take it easy. Quote. I know you, Chief George. Felicia smiled bitterly. your daughter is very famous in school, I have seen Gwen's performance. George sighed. The classmate's father is a policeman, but her own father is a robber. This girl must have a great psychological gap. Director George, what will my father do? Felicia still wanted to find a way to help her father. Her father gave her a good life, others can blame him, but she can't. This has to wait for the court to decide, judging from my years of experience. George said, if you can pay off the stolen money, you can reduce your sentence a lot, but your father stole a lot, including some treasures. He didn't finish his sentence, but the meaning was very clear. This was not something Felicia, a high school student, could pay off. Perhaps it was time to enlighten Felicia, lest she go astray as her father had done. It's just that he is still very busy as the police chief, and he doesn't have the time to enlighten high school students. George thought. Jessica came to mind somehow. That girl sneaks away every day to become a female knight. Although the blood is high, there is no sense of justice, and he recognizes this aspect. Maybe Felicia and Jessica can be allowed to wait and infect them a bit more, so that they won't go down the wrong path in the future. Think here. Chief George took out a banned business card that Gwen gave and handed it to Felicia. I can't help much, my daughter's friend Jessica, you should know. That girl is very popular in school now, you go and join her band, maybe you can raise some money based on her popularity. That's it. George also felt that he couldn't make it up, so he left on the grounds that he still had something to do. Quote. Looking at the business card lying in the palm of her hand, Felicia thought about it and put it in her school bag. But on the way home. But her heart was vacillating. The varsity band doesn't make much money, compared to the amount needed to commute my father's sentence, it's too short. Felicia didn't know. Her father's troubles, more than she imagined. Much bigger. The news is accurate, this is an opportunity. A figure like a mountain of meat, sitting on a luxurious chair, his complexion is not very good looking. In other words, since the super criminals under his command were baptized by black spiders. Jin Bing was not in a better mood. That makes it difficult to spare when he needs to deal with some street heroes who destroy business. Sometimes he even needs to come forward to solve it himself. What is the big guy behind the scenes to act as a thug in person? However, he recently found a solution to this dilemma, the experimental formula and serum formula of the Super Soldier Project back then. That's right, it's the Super Soldier Project that created Captain America. It was in the mind of that thief named Civet Cat. If you can get it, he will have an inexhaustible supply of extraordinary minions. Even the Black Spider, don't take it seriously. Jin Bing issued an order to his subordinates, notify Otto, I gave him the experimental funds he asked for, and told him to catch the civet to me. Police station. Not long after Felicia left. Several black suits came to Director George. FBI, are you taking Walter Hardy away? After confirming that their agent certificates were genuine, George looked at them and said strangely, this doesn't seem to be under your jurisdiction. We have the relevant documents and permission. Named, FBI, it was actually the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent's black suit showing proof. Director George, you'd better hurry up, we're in a hurry. I have to make sure. George definitely won't be taken away so easily, anyway, he was caught with hard work. But at this moment, someone is robbing the prison. Shouts came from the place where the police temporarily held the suspect, accompanied by some noisy voices. Before George could move, several people in black suits ran over there first. One of the agents reported through the headset. Sir, something happened. Someone attacked the police station, it should be for the Civet Cat. You hold on to the scene, we will immediately send people to support, if lost, continue to follow up the information. Yes. Midtown High School, library. In a window position. The beautiful blonde girl held her chin and turned the pages of the book in front of her with one hand, but her eyes gradually moved from the book to the window. In her eyes, the clouds and the blue sky seemed to slowly transform into someone's face. Since that time, she and Yi Li are like glue. Not seeing each other in a day is like 3 autumns. Gwen. A hand suddenly rested on Gwen's shoulder and shook it vigorously. Gwen, don't think about spring. Jessica, what are you doing? Gwen was shaken by Jessica until spider telepathy appeared, and said angrily, "Who, Mrs. Spring? I'm reading, don't shake me." "Hey, who is staring out the window in a daze while reading a book?" Jessica revealed it with a playful smile. "I haven't seen you for a day, and I just want to leave. Gwen is so sensual." "Gwen, why did I? You talk nonsense again." Jessica pointed her lips with her finger, raised her chin slightly, and moved her pupils up, as if remembering. "Remember who? Here I am, still twisting my waist." Since breaking Gwen's good deed, Jessica has often teased her with this. "You still say." Gwen was about to use the cobweb to seal Jessica's mouth angrily. "You are only one step away from becoming a female knight. The unscrupulous little sister, who actually seduced the big brother. I haven't settled the score with you yet." Quote. Just yesterday, she also found out about Jessica. Thanks to Yi Li, who decisively turned them into real comrades in arms, this incident can be regarded as being exposed. Knowing that she was wrong, Jessica blushed from the counterattack. Okay, let's not talk about this." She remembered the business, and quickly showed Gwen the phone screen. Sky sent a message. "Gwen, your father's hometown has been taken away." Quote. Gwen took the phone in confusion, and only then did she know what Jessica meant. In the picture, a strange man with 4 mechanical tentacles behind him is raging in the police station. The tentacle moves agility, is extremely powerful, and emits light from time to time, and the police officers can't stand it at all. A few men in black suits used some high-tech gadgets to hold the weirdo for a while. There are super criminals who dare to attack the police station. Gwen Bei bit her lips lightly, and raised her brows. "This is too courageous. I have to help." Concern is chaotic. She is worried about what will happen to her father, and is anxious to go to the locker room to change into her uniform. "Wait a second, Gwen." Jessie Carla stopped her and said quickly, "Sky said that Lee asked a friend to make some equipment for us. Let's go back to the club to get it." "Equipment? Then let's go." Without thinking about it, Gwen pulled Jessica up, obviously trusting Yi Li. "Hey." Jessica rubbed her shoulders and reminded, "Gwen, my school bag." "Okay, stop barking." Gwen didn't look back. The wrist was raised and pointed behind her, the cobweb shot out, and with a pull forward, the black school bag was in her hand. After being a superhero for a long time, she has become more and more proficient in using various abilities. "Cool." Jia Qian took the school bag and boasted. "What do I do? Maybe I should borrow some money. But who would lend me such a large sum?" On the way home, Felicia is still worrying about her father. Thoughts flow. She couldn't help but think of Yi Li, the teacher. He seems to be rich. Even Stark came to buy his paintings. Among the people she knows, he seems to be the only one who can help her and is likely to help her. Felicia pursed her lips. Between vain self-esteem and her father's reduced sentence, she quickly chose the latter. "But he will help me. Our relationship hasn't gotten to that point yet, and he has so many girls he likes." Felicia lingered for a long time not far from the door. Finally, she still made up her mind. "Even with my body. If it's him, maybe it's a beautiful thing." Felicia took out her mobile phone, ready to call Yi Li. At this time, "Oh, my dear Felicia, I finally got you." A lewd voice came. The person who came was a high school boy. Judging by the clothing brand on his body, his family background should be good. "Ryan." When Felicia saw the person coming, her face turned frosty in an instant, and she said coldly, "Squatting near other people's homes to harass is illegal. If you don't want me to call the police, get out." "Oh, look." The boy named Ruin, with a look of confidence, laughed arrogantly. "The thief's daughter is actually calling the police. What a thief calling for a thief." "You." Felicia gritted her silver teeth. "How do you know?" "I just wanted to come here to look for you, but unexpectedly, I happened to bump into your father and was arrested." Ryan stepped forward with a lewd expression and approached her. "Why don't you accept my pursuit, Felicia?" "Shut up. Don't call my name. Are you going to go or not?" Felicia's patience reached its limit. Her eyes are getting colder and colder. With white hair, the whole person is as cold as ice and snow. Strangers stay away. It's different from occasionally showing coquettishness in front of the person you like. This is her usual attitude when facing a suitor like Ryan, who is like a bee and a butterfly. "Are you short of money now?" Ryan was not pushed back by Felicia. He consciously took advantage of her. You don't want your father to be bullied in prison, do you? How about I lend you some money? As long as you are willing to accompany me, he. You, pissed. Felicia saw that it was his intention, but pissed smiled, her fair and beautiful face stretched out. I'm sorry, young Master Ruin, even if I sell my body for money, I won't look for you. She restrained her anger, and mocked Ryan with disdain on her face. I've already picked out the big money. I just sleep with him every day, no matter how he plays, I won't even look at you. Quote. You. This time Ryan was irritated, shame on you. Then don't blame me for being rude. As he said that, he rushed up. Obviously, they wanted to drag Felicia into the alley and rape her. Ryan, what are you doing? Looking at the wretched man who rushed over. Felicia's clear pupils also had waves, and it was too late to run this distance. How dare he? Seeing that Ryan was about to reach out and grab her. In Felicia's mind, the fighting technique that Yi Li taught by hand suddenly flashed. Fulin's heart is at the bottom of his heart. Feeling at the moment, there is also a pair of warm and powerful hands guiding my movements. She stepped on her feet and avoided to the side. Felicia just took a small step to the side, and Ryan grabbed it. Caught again, was avoided again. This made him look at his hands a little confused. Has he been weak recently? Can't even catch a girl. And at this time, Felicia, who was gaining momentum, kicked out. The ingenious force technique directly kicked Ryan out. Ah! Ryan screamed and fell against the wall. He felt a sharp pain in his face. Touched my nose, full of blood. The nose was kicked and collapsed. When did Felicia become so powerful? Ryan was about to get up, when he suddenly felt someone grabbed his head, and then he slammed it forward. Front. Ah! Ryan, whose nose collapsed when he was hit, screamed like a pig being killed. With this little ability, how can you learn from others to be a pervert, little friend? Yi Li threw him aside casually, and then turned his eyes gently to Felicia. How is it? I say this move is very strong. Teacher. Felicia let out a cry of surprise, and then Ryan threw herself into Yi Li's arms like a forest. Yi Li stroked her cold and beautiful face. Tell me to leave. Leave. Felicia bit her lip. Her eyes were complicated. She suddenly tiptoed and offered her first kiss. She was stimulated too much today. At this moment, it seems that he wants to vent his emotions freely through this method. Yi Li felt it. The emotional load was really great, and he needed to use his skillful skills to comfort him. On the side of the street with few pedestrians, handsome men and beautiful women embrace and kiss each other, forming a romantic scene. It's the guy next to him who collapsed on the ground, howling all the time. It's too disruptive to the atmosphere. The kissing parties stretched out their legs and gave him a kick from time to time. Stop kicking. Stop kicking. Quote. Ryan, whose face was convulsed with pain, collapsed on the ground, unable to get up for a while. Also mixed double kick by Yi Li and Felicia. The more you kick him, the more it hurts. The more it hurts, the more he screams. The more you shout, the more you get kicked. What's even more hateful is that the goddess is kissing someone passionately next to her, and the man is still needing her hands. Under Felicia's feet, she still didn't forget to step on the palm of Ryan's palm and crushed hard. It was as if his self-esteem was crushed under his feet. Under the stimulation of physical and psychological torture. Ryan didn't know where the strength came from. His palm broke away from the sole of the shoe, and he suddenly got up. Then, ran away. He is scared. Growing up so big, how could I have suffered such grievances? Felicia opened her lavender eyes in confusion. She glanced at Ryan, who was urinating in his buttocks and running away. He closed his eyes again and didn't care much. It's just a joker. It's more important to play with Li Tai Tai. Yi Li, who turned his back to Ryan, had a flash in his eyes, and a slight sneer sneered at the corner of his mouth being gnawed. Offended Hardy and still want to leave. Here. Ryan was running staggeringly. Suddenly, there was nothing under his feet, and the well and the manhole cover under his feet were removed at some point. Which wicked thing did this? Ryan, who fell into the sewage, cursed. He also thought that he was blinded by the blood stains on his face and didn't see clearly before falling. Just when he was struggling to leave here, suddenly there was a force behind him that pushed him down. Ryan was held down by this force, unable to move in the sewage, and just drowned in the sewer. After Yi Li solved it, he put away the power of the chicken charm. Chicken spell. The original ability is just floating flight. But after strengthening, it has a powerful imperial ability. Felicia had felt hands tugging at her earlier, something unspeakable that had killed Ryan. Of course Yi Li did it all. Leave. At this time. Felicia faltered, I want to borrow. After popping out a few words. But she couldn't speak, she closed her beautiful eyes again, and sucked Shanyan's red lips tightly. On the cold and pretty face, there was a rare look of sadness, which was very pitiful. Felicia is still hesitation. This person she admired has now become her pillar. If conditions permit, she really doesn't want the relationship with him to involve money. Yi Li knew what she wanted to say. But he didn't say so directly. But following the breather. Follow the good way. Felicia, well, what do you think? I can. Well, All right, now Felicia is focused on pouring out love, and he keeps getting interrupted. Trigger Felicia Hardy's relationship account, mission to prevent Walter Hardy from being robbed. The system popped up again. Alright, let's get here first. Although reluctant, but Yi Li still broke Felicia's little head, which refused to leave. She is not in a normal mood now. Li, don't you like me? Seeing Yi Li doing this, Felicia drooped her eyebrows, looking sad. She said weakly, why don't you let me continue? Yi Li, girl, how long have you been sipping on this? If you delay for a while, your father will be kidnapped. Felicia, you don't want to ask. Yi Li picked up some strands of Felicia's silver hair with her fingertips, and teased, why did I come to you? Yes. Why? Seeing Yi Li's frivolous appearance, Felicia thought he was trying to show love. His heart beat faster, whispering against his chest. You popped up like a superhero. I think I'm in love with you, my hero. I feel like that, Yi Li kindly reminded. Even without me, you should be able to beat that guy half to death. He must have been beaten half to death. When I arrived, his nose was collapsed. That. Felicia raised her head slightly and said firmly, you taught that too. Anyway, I just like you. Yi Li. Sure enough, girls who are in love for the first time love for no reason, they will always find an excuse. Forget it. Don't care about tasks. Anyway, the template of the black cat, even if it is loaded by integrate, it is not a big improvement for him. Yi Li bent over slightly. Holding Felicia's back shoulder with one hand, and wrapping around her feet with the other, he hugged her princess. Is there anyone in your family? What do you want to do? Felicia cringes and expects. My mother is still at home, she should be in a bad mood now, you better not now. Yi Li looked towards Felicia's house and asked, is that window your room? Felicia hesitated for a moment. Her father was arrested and imprisoned, how could she still? Felicia, Yi Li called again. Yes, from. Felicia raised the red glow, but still made a decision, that's my room. This is all to pay back the money, parents shouldn't blame her. Boom, boom, boom. Felicia, are you smashing something? I hear you seem to be throwing a tantrum. Juana, with a sad face, came to the door of her daughter's locked room, and patiently persuaded her. I know about your father, it makes you very emotional, but don't blame him, Felicia hasn't said a word since she got home. Back in the room, I locked the door without making a sound. In the back room, there was another sound of smashing things. Juana knew that she was angry with her father. She was dazzling in school, but her father suddenly became a thief. This is a big blow to a girl at the age when her vanity is at its peak. It's Mom, wait a minute. Felicia whispered, holding a collar by her hand. The sound of things being smashed in the room stopped. A hoarse girlish voice came from inside, Mom. I'm fine, don't worry about me. Felicia, are you behind the door? An image appeared in Juana's mind, the appearance of her daughter leaning against the door, crying sadly, her eyes glazed over. She couldn't help but ask worriedly, my daughter, your voice. Daughter, you crying? Don't cry too hard, it's not good for your health. We can find a way to solve your father's matter. No, Mom, I'm not crying, I'm not a little girl anymore. The voice in the room trembled. Felicia, Mom knows your sadness, don't be too sad. The more Juana thought about it, the more distressed she became. Because of her husband's affairs, her daughter was forced to grow up. The mechanical tentacles grab a police car and hurl it at several SHIELD agents. The strong force smashed one of them until he vomited blood and fell to the ground recklessly. Otto Gunther Octavius, nicknamed Dr. Octopus. The 4 mechanical arms he invented are amazingly powerful, and in an experimental accident, they accidentally merged with him, and they can be manipulated at will. If it wasn't just now, I was disturbed by an electromagnetic pulse device of SHIELD agent. Otto had already grabbed the civet and left. But now, no one can stop him. Who are you? What do you want me to do? Seeing that he was about to be captured by this weird man with 4 limbs, Walter was also very anxious. As a thief who has been in the rivers and lakes for many years, he knew that if it fell into the hands of some guys, it would be worse than being caught by the police. Otto snorted with a sneer, there was no reason to be a civet. If it wasn't for the experimental funding given by Jin Bing, these bullshit things would be none of his business. Sir, he is going to escape. The Aegis agent pressed the communication. Support hasn't arrived yet. The other side quickly sent back a message, only one word, arrived. Arrive. The agent was slightly stunned. An arrow with an oval head shot across the air, precisely hitting Otto's mechanical arm holding the civet. The arrow flashes red a few times. This mechanical arm suddenly emitted a thin electricity, and the eyes dimmed after a trance, and the entire mechanical arm collapsed on the ground. The civet caught by the mechanical claws also escaped naturally, and took advantage of the gap to run away. Otto was about to use the other robotic arm, there are 2 more for walking on the ground, to grab it. But another arrow was shot in the face, so he had to block it first. Mechanical claws contain high computing power. Under automatic aiming, a ray of light shoots out, trying to shoot off the approaching arrows. However, the arrow that was close at hand exploded after being shot. Boom. Wait for the smoke to clear. The disheartened Otto found that the civet had already run a considerable distance. He couldn't help being furious, and glanced around. Who is it? Hawkeye ignored Otto's panic. Seeing that the civet was about to run away, he notified the action team to intercept. The target is in the direction of around 4 o'clock, and it is expected to arrive at your position in 5 minutes. After catching him, retreat immediately, and I will hold back the enemy. Otto also discovered Hawkeye's position at this time, raised the mechanical arm, and shot light at him one after another. Bew bew bew. The light splashed a few streaks of smoke and dust. Hawkeye rolled on the spot, dodged the attack on the ground, and shot back several multifunction arrows with his backhand. Otto didn't want to mess with Hawkeye anymore. However, these various arrows were too annoying, and he couldn't completely ignore them. Annoying thing. I will kill you first. Quote. His paralyzed mechanical arm, at the moment, also just returned to normal. As the 4 robotic arms moved, they quickly approached Hawkeye. Hawkeye definitely doesn't fight recklessly. He put away his bow and arrow, turned and ran. Strong physical fitness. With the help of the winding alleys, Dr. Octopus couldn't catch him in a short time. This made Otto so angry that he started to wreak havoc with the mechanical tentacles. The light scattered freely. One of them happened to shoot at a girl by the side of the road. It's about to pierce through the head. The fleeing Hawkeye noticed and shot a rope arrow at the girl, trying to pull her away. What's the matter with Felicia? After Cindy left the gallery, she wanted to see her best friend. I won't reply to any messages. Looking at the phone, her spider telepathy suddenly reacted violently, subconsciously tilted her head, and a ray of light brushed past. Immediately after the cobweb shot out, it touched a nearby street lamp, and Cindy's figure stood on it. In situ, an arrow rope was tied empty. Who is it? Cindy couldn't figure out who would attack her. That's right, an attack. In her opinion, if one time may be an accident. Then, adding the arrow connected to the rope, it was a premeditated aim at himself. Here, Hawkeye and Dr. Octopus were taken aback when they saw Cindy's performance. Could this person be the ghost spider? With her strong spider telepathy, Cindy quickly discovered Hawkeye and Dr. Octopus who shot. Who are they? Could it be Moloon's people? It seemed that this was the only possibility, otherwise Cindy couldn't figure out who else would plot against her. Run or fight? Let's run. The cowardly and pitiful Cindy quickly made a choice. Save your life. The wind is blowing. Just when Cindy pulled his collar to cover his face, he was about to run away. Hawkeye regained consciousness before Dr. Octopus, taking this opportunity, shot a slime arrow at Otto. A large amount of viscous liquid instantly covered Dr. Octopus, including his mechanical arm, which was temporarily stuck in the gap. A fight. Cindy paused. Some do not understand the situation. But she thinks it's better to run. It's none of her business if they fight casually. So she sticks her fingers out of the cobweb and is about to leave. Buzz. What? Cindy froze again. In her mind, a feeling of deja vu appeared, the feeling when she was intertwined with Yi Li's spider telepathy. Is it nearby? When Cindy's feeling became stronger and stronger, two figures in battle suits landed beside her. Bang! Gwen landed, stirring up flying ash. Raising her hands, she looked at the surface of the battle suit glowing faintly. This feels really good. Jessica, who was also wearing an advanced battle suit, turned her attention to Cindy. Cindy, how did you stand on the lamppost? And, on your fingertips, floating is it cobweb? Quote. Because of Yi Li, Jessica and Cindy have also met recently, but Cindy's current posture is beyond her expectations. Why do you look so like Gwen? Jessica, it turned out to be you and the ghost spider, and the uniform is a little different from the one on the news. Quote. Cindy jumped down, and although she greeted Jessica, she kept staring at Gwen. The intertwined sense of spider telepathy allowed her to determine the source. It was the ghost spider. Cindy, are you Spider-Man too? Jessica stepped forward and grabbed Cindy to look hard, and asked suspiciously, could it be that you are the Black Spider? She had a bold guess. When going to the club to pick up a new battle suit. Sky relayed Yi Li's words, don't say that the battle suit was given by him, if anyone asks, just say it was provided by the Black Spider. At that time, Jessica and Gwen suspected that the friend Yi Li mentioned was actually the Black Spider. This can explain why Black Spider always helps Gwen. He and Yi Li must have discovered the identity of the ghost spider long ago. That's why Black Spider helped Gwen for Yi Li's sake. Reasonable and well-founded. As for the possibility that Yi Li is a Black Spider, Gwen thought about it, but thought it was impossible. After all, Li is so friendly. The Black Spider is cold. And now, Jessica saw that Cindy was hiding an ability that resembled Gwen, and she was close to the big brother. Seriously suspect that it is the Black Spider Ben Spider. As for the Black Spider, it looks like a male. Can you fake it? The clever Jessica thought so, and glanced at Cindy's figure. Although the size is not small, it can still be hidden by stretching it. Ah, what are you thinking, Jessica? Cindy was dumbfounded by Jessica's question. What kind of brains are you? She denies, I'm a cobweb, not a Black Spider. Jessica, her ability is very similar to mine. Gwen at the moment also expressed her opinion, but although the uniform and title of Black Spider are similar to mine, but without cobweb, she should not be. Hey, that's right, ability is different. Jessica also realized that her own ideas were preconceived. Black spiders can fly. Ghost Spider, can I ask you some questions? Cindy moved closer to Gwen. She wanted to figure out what was going on. Even though the ghost spider was a woman, how could she have that kind of attraction? Hello, Cindy. Gwen also had a strange reaction. She suddenly felt that Cindy was so kind and wanted to be close to her. Juana and Lee, plus Cindy. Doing. Fun and wonderful things together. Exclamation mark. How could I have such an idea? Gwen quickly suppressed the shameful desire, and responded, what do you want to ask? Cindy reached out to Gwen, as if wanting to touch her. Have you ever been bitten by a spider? Gwen also stretched out her hand to her in a strange way. Could it be that you too? The slender hands are getting closer. The index fingers of the two girls finally touched together. Even through the battle suit, there is a tingling feeling. How is this going? Gwen's eyes were slightly flustered, and he quickly withdrew his hand. She only wants Helly to have this feeling. Other people, even girls, can't do it. Cindy was a little happy. Finally she was not the only one who had that weird feeling. She put her slender fingers through Gwen's fingers, held the palm and asked, do you feel that way too? I. The feeling from his hand made Gwen at a loss. How could he encounter such a thing? What are you doing? Jessica on the side asked strangely, since when did the relationship get so good? Cindy and Gwen held each other's fingers, and those who didn't know thought they were lovers. I don't know if it's because of the battlesuit isolation, or because it's the same gender. The attraction between Cindy and Gwen is not as strong as it is with Yi Li. After shaking hands for a while, they parted. How is this going? Gwen looked at Cindy defensively. Is your ability hypnotic ability? No, Cindy deduced. It should be because we were bitten by the same spider. Think so. The spider that bit off was the same as her. Cindy thought to herself. That spider is really powerful, bitten 3 people. She does not know. Yi Li is extra attractive to her because the template copied by the system comes from Gwen. What about those 2? Quote, only then did Cindy realize that Hawkeye and Dr. Octopus had disappeared. It turned out that Otto saw the arrival of the female knight and the ghost spider, plus Cindy, who was similar to the Spider-Man ability. He was also afraid of being besieged, so he took the initiative to withdraw. Dr. Octopus is gone. Hawkeye naturally won't stay here for long. He is only in charge of fighting. For information such as, I found someone with a similar ghost spider ability but not a ghost spider, just report it and let other professional agents investigate. At the end of this task, it is estimated that it will still fall on Barbara's head. Heish. Barbara, who was happily paddling in the club, suddenly sneezed. I always feel like the Bureau is about to send out new missions. Hawkeye contacted the operation team. The enemy has withdrawn. Melinda, have you caught anyone there? Barton, there was an accident, and there are enemies. The other side. A few minutes ago. Civet, Walter took advantage of Dr. Octopus and their confrontation, and quickly escaped from the police station. With his agility, he was not overtaken by several police officers and SHIELD agents chasing him. When I escape back, I will emigrate with Felicia and the others, and change Fang Yin's name to another place. Walter ran away desperately, making plans in his mind, thinking about how to arrange for his wife and daughter. They must be very worried about me now. My poor daughter, I hope you don't cry for me. Just when he was missing his wife and daughter, at the turn of the dark alley ahead, a graceful figure suddenly jumped out. Melinda moved quickly, and with a half-empty leg loop, the bend of her leg clamped Walter's neck and brought him to the ground. Go away. Walter tried to struggle, but Melinda locked him tightly with her hands and feet. Who are you guys? Melinda chuckled. Mr. Hardy, you know what you remember. You are suspected of stealing state secrets, so you have to come with us. Open tortoise shell bracket national secret. Close tortoise shell bracket. Walter's mind flashed, and he remembered the past when he was a boy. At that time, he was a well-known thief, and he was born to be this kind of material. Once, someone approached him in the name of the U.S. government, offered him a large sum of money, and wanted him to steal a secret document. Because he has the ability to never forget. But after he sneaked into that laboratory and wrote down the string of incomprehensible experimental equations and serum formulas, he realized that he was being used. It wasn't the U.S. government who hired him at all, but the leader of Hydra, Red Skull. So after the Super Soldier Project's lab was destroyed, he kept the secret in his head. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.